The students, we will be beginning the event in a short while. May I request you all to please keep your mobile phones on silent mode. Not just the students, but my dear colleagues as well. The students may request you to kindly rise. We request you all to kindly be seated.
Is it having sound as well? These are not just yes.
Good afternoon to one and all present here. 20th August 2025 was a special occasion when we gathered together to launch the book Social Media Marketing, a Practitioner Approach by the internationally acclaimed Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik. It was on the same day that NDIM conferred the honorary professorship in strategic marketing and leadership to Professor Dr. Opresnik. Today, it is indeed a moment of pride and joy for NDIM family as we come together for the operational launch of the Opresnik Pivotal Thinking Institute at NDIM and taking this collaboration forward. On behalf of the NDIM family, may I request Chairman Sir to kindly welcome Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik with the Green Initiative. Please put your hands together for our speaker. Thank you so much. May I also take this opportunity to welcome all my colleagues, dear faculty members, dear students, and the NDIM family as well as guests. As we all know, NDIM began its journey in 1992 and takes pride in its sole focus on excellence in business management programs. It is indeed a proud moment for our family this year when we have been declared as India's gold standard in industry-led MBA education by Confederation of Indian Industry. This happened in December 2025. We now move on to one of the most significant moments of today's session, which is inauguration of Opresnik Pivotal Thinking Institute here at NDIM and the formal signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between NDIM and Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik. I request Chairman Sir and Professor Opresnik to kindly proceed with the MOU signing ceremony.
Right. Yeah, sure. Wonderful. It's nice. It's nice paper.
To give you all a brief idea about Opresnik Pivotal Thinking Institute, the Pivotal Thinking and the Pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas represent next generation frameworks developed by Professor Dr. Marc himself for purpose-driven leadership, marketing, and strategy. They serve companies, institutions, and leaders worldwide as a future compass of management and empower sustainable transformation. Let's mark this moment in our memory. Please put your hands together. As they exchange the Memorandum of Understanding, may I request you all to please put your hands together once again.
Right. Like I said last time, this is only the sound. Yeah. But that's just
Ladies and gentlemen, it is a privilege to introduce Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik, one of the world's most renowned experts in marketing, management, and negotiation. With a distinguished career spanning leadership roles at Shell International in London, professorships at prestigious institutions across Europe and Asia, and as co-author of seminal marketing textbooks with Phil Kotler and Kevin Keller, he has made an indelible mark on the global business education. He's a founder of Opresnik Management Consulting and president of Opresnik Business School, and has advised leading organizations such as Google, Coca-Cola, Porsche, and the United Nations. Recognized as global thought leader, he was recently appointed a member of the Academic Speakers Bureau at the London School of Economics. It is now our privilege to hear from the distinguished scholar himself. His insights and principles have influenced business leaders, educators, and students across the world. And today we have the honor of hearing them firsthand. I request Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik to deliver the keynote address.
Well, thank you very much for the kind reception. I think my friend is more than a friend to me. Right, he's my mentor. I love him. I came to India first in 2020, and we haven't met them. But I met a friend, Tui Kaji, and he brought me into touch with Dr. Banzar. And NDIM was the first institute really giving me honorary professorship in strategic marketing and management, and ever since, just happened this year, by the way. It seems like we've been knowing each other for a very, very long time. I'm sorry, I'm always so emotional kind of guy. And this is much more in the sense that than a collaboration, it's a friendship. I told him back then, it's the beginning of a wonderful journey. So I thank you, my friend, for being here. And that is also what I love about India. India is such a progressive country and modern thinking. At the same time, it's rooted in spirituality. It's appreciating all kinds of cultures, religious belief. That is why I love this country, its people, and why I made India second home base. Yeah. Thank you also to Professor Tina Mikkelsen for having me here, for the invitation to moderator for the beautiful introduction. So I don't want to waste too much of your time. So this will not be a lengthy lecture, but just to give you some kind of insight on what we came up with and what we thought about. How did it come? Did it arrive, this Critical Thinking Modeling Institute? This is the guy whom Professor Kotler, my mentor, right, considered to be the guru of the gurus. The guru of Michael Porter, the guru of Philip Kotler now, or Marshall Goldsmith. Everybody is considering Peter Drucker. So he was Austrian-American born management thinker. He invented modern management to be the guru of the gurus. And he said, the best way, in particular when it comes, it's more relevant than ever before, if it comes to AI and recent development, how can you react towards the future? And he said, it's not good enough for organizations, also for leaders and managers and future leaders, to just adapt to change, but to be proactive. And I love always the great quote from Wayne Gretzky. He's a very famous NHL superstar, all-time player. And he was once interviewed, and he was asked, what differentiates, Mr. Gretzky, you're one of the GOAT players, right? Greatest of, or probably you're the GOAT player in the NHL. What differentiates a great player from a legendary player? How do you become GOAT? And he said, it's very easy. Great players skate to where the puck is. ice skate to where the puck is going to be. And Drucker said the best way to predict the future is to invent it, to create it, to shape it for the better. That is also what I said in my inauguration talk at the NDIM when I was having another Drucker quote. I was elaborating on the difference, I love that as well, between leadership and management. Because we have a lot of managers on the planet, but very, very few are leaders. We estimate about 1% really being leaders. And leadership is doing the right things. Management is doing things in the right way. Management is about efficiency. But leadership is about effectiveness, about really inspiring people. The greatest virtue you can have at Shell, I was working for Shell International in global strategy in London, Shell Center, wonderful 22nd floor office overlooking the Houses of Parliament in Big Ben. And the biggest asset you could have as a leader was, of course, being able to build a shared vision which is inspiring people, pay attention, across levels and cultures. Across levels means it is not good enough to inspire leaders, right? Or someone, you have to inspire everybody. EVPs, VPs, first-line managers, support everybody in the organization, right? And you have to do that globally. Not being restricted to one industry, ideally. That was the greatest virtue you can have at Shell as a leader. And this is what I was sharing. I will come to more modern thing later on. But this is an old acronym, so I'm quickly elaborate on that. But still, it's applicable today. We are living in this VUCA world, which is coined by volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. It calls for a vision. We need a clear vision where we need to go, right? That inspires us. And we need a sophisticated understanding of the world around us. Not only of the customers, but also of AI, the microenvironment, the macroenvironment, right? We phrase it in strategic management, we put it into the micro and the macro environment, the micro analysis being the 5 forces, for example, of Michael Porter, and the macro analysis, you know, the Pestel analysis. When you look at political, economic, social, technological, environmental, and legal factors that do have an influence on every organization, universities, governments, political parties, right? It doesn't make any difference. And complexity means we need to be clear in our communication, clear what we stand for, right? We have to have a clear message about what is our purpose, what is our value there, not just another computer that is having a longer battery life. This is not inspiring anybody, right? My mission and my purpose is to build a better world through education. That's my mission. Ambiguity means we need to be agile. We need to be adapting to new business environment more quickly than ever before. But ideally, as I'm saying, we want to proactively shape it. This is a little bit of the evolution of marketing. Marketing was developed in the 60s by McCarthy and Philip Kotler, and mostly McCarthy is credited for that, for the 4 Ps: product, price, place, promotion. But this is just an operational kind of thing. There's no strategy involved here. There's no normative management involved in here. And more contemporary model was then brought up by Lauterburn and colleagues at the Harvard University when they said, oh, we must more relentlessly focus on the customer. All right, today we call the customers prosumers because they have more impact, right? Higher value for the enterprise and can impact the results. So you can see that it's not really changing, just a different kind of wording that has been assigned to that, the 4 Cs. I like the 2013 model also from other colleagues, I think now, who came around with a SAFE model. They said, we don't sell products, we shall look at the problems of people and then design solutions to tackle them. Right? That is also what Professor Clayton Christensen at the Harvard University, fortunately died a couple of years ago, He would have won, I'm pretty sure about that, the Nobel Prize for that. He wrote a very famous, influential book, 1996 book, The Innovator's Dilemma. And solutions, this is also what I learned from the Google. I'm working for all the superstar companies, we call them Magnificent Seven companies. They used to be the big four, right? The GAFA companies, Google, Apple, Facebook, Amazon. But now in today's world, we're having three more, right? You know that? A little bit of a quiz. Huh? Can you, huh? Pardon me? No. What are the three ones adding to the GAFA? NVIDIA is another one, yes, and Microsoft and no, Apple is in the GAFA. Apple, Facebook, Amazon. No? Tesla, yeah, Tesla. These are called, with respect to the Magnificent Seven, it's all Western movie, right? These are the Magnificent Seven companies. And I learned that from the Google. Start with a problem, not with a solution. Don't start with a product and then you try to sell it to the market or thinking about some advertisement. Still, for most people, marketing is just advertisement. Selling stuff to people they don't need. Pushing it into the market. This has nothing to do with marketing. And my mentor, Professor Potter, always said, and I love that quote, the aim of marketing is to reduce the need for selling. Because if people see somebody has a solution to my problem, I buy automatically. This is what we call pull approach. But the starting point is totally different, right? And still people sometimes don't understand. Recently, I've been consulting German car industry, particularly around being challenged by Chinese competition, price-aggressive competition. And recently, I've been looking at a new kind of Porsche car, concept car of Porsche. And again, the people say, all the kind of software and design in the car, and say, but it's also complicated. It's very complex. I get an overflow here, and because you can also steer different kind of head displays with your feelings. It's like in Minority Report, Tom Cruise. And I said it's very complicated. I can't remember how was the air conditioning turned down, or where's the seat heating here? Because there's no button to press anymore, right? So I need to remember how to enter through the menus. And he said, and I said, does the customer need all these kind of super complicated things? And he said again, the chief engineer said, I don't care. Right? I'm only constructing the car. The salespeople have to sell it. That's not my task. This is wrong kind of culture, wrong kind of thinking. And I don't know whether I was giving that kind of quote, but I still love it. I love to give that. The co-founder of Hewlett Packard once said, marketing is too important to leave it to the marketing people. Because marketing is a mindset. Marketing doesn't mean to have some product and sell it. I'm repeating myself, I know. But really to look at the people and their problems and then design innovative solutions to tackle that. That is it's a mindset, it's a philosophy. Yes, this is coming from a sociology professor, very famous thing, and I loved it. I always like that kind of an approach, because he said, and I've been working for many, many years in global business, in global strategy, very performance-oriented. And my line managers and also colleagues, they always said, what's the impact on the bottom line? What's the impact on the bottom line? They're always talking about bottom line. What do you mean with bottom line? They mean profit. There's nothing wrong to make a profit. Most companies are for profit. I understand. But it cannot be the only and ultimate driver for success. Because in particular, I'm looking at you, future leaders of this world. Not only of your country. Like Nadella, you can run Google at a later time, right? So that's not a problem. Or Microsoft, you will be CEO to Microsoft. Why not? being educated here at NDIM, right? So connect with me. I'm curious just to see where you're going. That is also what I tell my German students. I can learn from you as much as you can learn from me. That is also very, very important to understand. Because it is a cultural kind of thing. Einstein, the German genius, right, the Nobel Prize laureate for physics, for relativity theory, once said, everybody on the planet, say it again, everybody on this planet is superior to me, Albert Einstein, in one respect. Therefore, I shall never look down at anybody. It's coming from a genius, right? That is also that was always my attitude towards you, towards people. My young daughter, for example, at the age of 14, she was better at video editing than I can ever be. So and when Corona came along, and I like to tell stories because they're emotional, they're coming from my life, and you can better comprehend and understand and acknowledge that. When Corona came along, a lot of professors at my universities, they were overwhelmed. They didn't know how to do Zoom call, they didn't know how to do video recording, etc., etc. Me either. Same. So what did I do? I said to my IT students, so I'm educating in global strategy and management and marketing. I said, ladies and gentlemen, I need your help. I'm paying you $50 per hour. Oh, generous. $50 per hour. I need training on Open Broadcaster Studio, OBS Studio. Train me. I want a green screen. I want a professional camera. I want to really. And then some guy said, "Oh yeah, we can do it. We're doing ego shooters, and we're showing on the YouTube, etc. I can show you how to cut yourself out, and I do all the filters for you, etc., etc." So I had one person really training me 10 hours how to do OBS Studio. And he's still working for me. He's my video editing guru, I would say. So that's what Einstein meant. So I'm not looking down. I'm not saying that, but I'm not looking down at you, sir. Right? We're meeting at eyesight. We have saying there in German, and that's very important to understand. I once was giving a presentation to 10,000 people in Pakistan, and there were some people at the back. They were taking pictures, selfies. And I said, "Oh yeah, okay, interesting. They're taking all the selfies. Yeah, they're taking selfies with you." But I said, "I'm 30 meters away. Let them come over." "No, they're not allowed to talk to you, Professor." And I said, "Maybe, but I like to interact with those kind of people. I can learn from them. I arrived in Mumbai on Monday. So I was working. We met some people from Bollywood as well, and I can learn from everybody. And there was also one person attending my talk at some convention center. We were with our joint friend, Professor Ayer, right? And there was a musician who was doing all this Bollywood music, but also for Hollywood. He was also doing for Roman Polanski. You know him, this guy, yeah. Who's him? Yeah, right. For example, so we learned how he was kind of composing the music and how intuition came into his head. And that is very enriching because we can, like I said, I don't want to deviate too much from the plot. So people, planet, and profit needs to be balanced. And this is more paramount than it has ever been. Because in an AI-driven world, people are insecure, people are anxious. I was getting another honorary lead professorship for strategic marketing and management in Italy, prestige university. And students were asking and saying, "Oh, when I'm finishing, am I getting a good job? Will I be replaced in 5 years' time?" We don't know, right? And as we can see, the first virtual, not only influencers, but also singers, right? It was the first country guy, you know, he made the top 3 most viral ranking on the Spotify just last week. It's totally AI generated, not a human being anymore. So that is happening, but there's no need to be afraid. We just have to be continuously learning. The great Mahatma Gandhi said, live today as if it were your last day, and learn as if you were to live forever. There's a quote from the great Mahatma Gandhi, and I think we should appreciate that. And that's what I try to do. I try to continuously learn and develop. But here it's about this balance, which is so paramount, because, and I'm a member of the advisory board of the United Nations World Food Programme, and we have Sustainable Development Goals of the United Nations. And you're the ones who care. Not all of you probably, but I hope the majority does care. My students in Germany are tutored super Ivy League, Oxford, MIT, Harvard, Cambridge. Most people saying, and I'm asking because I'm curious. One lady once sent me, was asking a very intelligent question, I think. It touched me somehow in my heart. It resonated with me. Professor, you're good. If you were young again, if you were my age, you were studying, you were graduating from the university, would you work for Shell again? I said, that's a very good question. Probably not. Not because Shell is a bad company, but I would more like to work for a company which values and purpose is resonating within inside of me. This is also why I became a professor. When I was working for Shell in London, I was working in top management position. Global strategy. I was rolling out projects in 180 plus countries, all over the world. I was responsible for divesting the entire retail network we had in Spain. We sold over for $5 billion and investing in joint venture with Lukoil in Kazakhstan. It was global strategy decisions. I was based in London, living in luxurious hotels. But ever since in parallel, I was teaching at the university, international management. And this resonated deep inside within me, interiorly, right? And it triggered me. And it was so rewarding to build the potential of young people. Not of everybody. Of course, you cannot do that. But of some people. And that is what really intrinsically motivated me. And ever since I decided I want to leave my job, top paid job at Shell, to become university professor at German university. So I had to accept an 80% cut in salary. But what was I getting? Joy. I love to tell the story about Herbert von Karajan. Herbert von Karajan was a very famous German, world famous composer and conductor. And once he was giving an interview on German radio. Long time ago. So you probably were not born. No matter. It's very, very, very appealing, this kind of a story. And Herbert von Karajan was on vacation before. So you just returned from vacation from the Caribbean. It was on Bahamas. Very nice. So the interviewer started to break the ice with a question about the holidays. So she asked him, Maestro, many thanks for your time for the interview, right? You have been to the Bahamas. How were your vacations? Did you have a good rest? And he was jumping, he was shouting through the microphone to hear it. I was driving and listening to the radio. It was terrible, I couldn't work at all. It was the worst holiday ever in my life, and I thought this would be a serious interview. How can you ask me such a question? I'm annoyed. And she said, Maestro, excuse me, but this is why we are going on holidays. Right? To take a rest, not to work. And he said, I know it's pathetic, but take his position, it's true. He said, what you're doing, you're asking me questions. That is your job. I understand, I acknowledge that. However, you have to understand what I do. My profession is my passion. Right? I don't work for a living, I live to work. And in my book about career management, I call that the Karajan factor, and it tracks the intrinsic motivation people have for their jobs. Right? And like Steve Jobs, former CEO of Apple, once was addressing Stanford graduates. He said that you want to do great work, but the only way to do great work is to love what you do. And you only love. There's research on that. You can check it out. You can Google check or ask ChatGPT. Gallup Institute is looking into that. Every year they're asking more than 50,000 people from 53 countries, right? Do you work? Living or you live to work? Is the company giving you every day the opportunity to do what you love doing, not what you can do? There's a fundamental difference between what you can do, right? You can put all day long one sheet of paper and from the left to the right, right? You can do that. But that is always the intelligent question also, someone was mentioning BlackRock. And the founder of BlackRock once said, and it's a very good question, you have to answer yourself, because it's about your personal development as well. Man, I'm giving you $10 billion now, right? After graduation, you're getting $10 billion. Under one condition, you keep on working. What would you like to do every day if financial considerations don't matter? That is a very good question. And I'm saying, I precisely do what I do today, what I do here. It's fun, I enjoy it, I love it. I love. Every I'm talking to university, no matter where they are, when I call Oxford, Cambridge, Lübeck, it doesn't make any difference. I'm standing there and saying, wow, I love it. I like to discuss with you. I like to talk to you. I like to learn from you. And people sense that. My current factor is 100. Last week, I was applying at the university. I said, so people they want to retire early, right? Also Germany and France, we retire at the age of 63. Germany, 67. If you're born like me, 1969, you have to work up to 67. But I was signing a contract with the university. I went to the university professor and said, I want to become elder professor. I want to work until the age of the maximum 75, if I live that long. I want to work until 75, become elder professor, you teach 1 day per week. You're not getting any money. Because I can't. That will resonate with you. And I wish you that you're looking for that. Because you're YouTube, and you should be working, right, in an organization or design organizations that do care. Because Generation Alpha, right, and Z, they are much different from my generation. They are more looking for purpose-driven brands, and that is based also upon research and the ideas of my friend I'm working with in Simon Sinek, who brought up the most watched TED Talk of all time is Golden Circle talk of my friend Simon Sinek. And he said, companies don't inspire anybody. So traditionally, because they move from the outside in, if ever they have any kind of purpose, right? Most companies say, oh, we beautifully designed products, and they have a value proposition, how they do that, and then purpose is profit-driven, they want to maximize profitability, return on investment, then you can save whatever, however you call that, right? But that's not appealing to anybody, right? We shall start with a why, and that is a famous book that was authored by Simon. Start with a why, it's a global bestseller, right? Inspire people. But not by saying, oh, right, we are maximizing profitability. But what is your impact to change the world for the better? And that is why we came up with this. I was showing that before, but now it's different. How we came up with Professor Popper and Professor Hawkinson with this pivotal infinity marketing canvas. Beautiful framework, which is very encompassing, starting with the why, starting with the purpose. Right? We'll have an explain video later. Then we move to the customer segment. What are their problems? And we have innovative solutions to address that. Value proposition, communication, distribution at the crossroads with the micro and the macro environment all around. We want to turn prosumers into ambassadors. And we don't want to do that one moment at a time. Not a transaction for a transactional approach, but a relationship approach. I don't think it's appreciating that. And we want to do it over the lifetime of the customer. That is what we call customer lifetime value concept. There are many concepts in here, right? Also the customer lifetime value I just mentioned, but also customer touchpoint management, the customer journey.
Every day, organizations launch new products, expand into markets, and invest in strategies. Yet most fail to achieve lasting success because they are not rooted in purpose, nor aligned with what truly matters in a world of disruption and change. It doesn't have to be this way. The Pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas is the next generation framework, a future compass of management that unites purpose, innovation, and value, and transforms marketing and leadership into a force for meaningful and sustainable growth. More than a model, the Pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas is a practical toolkit designed for leaders, students, and professionals to rethink strategy, empower innovation, and create impact that lasts. The Pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas turns purpose into infinite market power and offers organizations a clear pathway from vision to real-world results. Every successful business starts with purpose, the reason why it exists. Purpose is not decoration. It is the compass that guides every strategic decision. From purpose, we move to customer segments. The people or businesses we serve. Whether B2B or B2C, understanding your customer is the foundation of growth. Customers face problems every day. There are jobs to be done. These are unmet needs, frustrations, and challenges that stand in their way. Successful companies start by understanding these jobs. Innovation means creating solutions that solve real problems. Not every idea is innovation. True innovation delivers what customers really need. By solving problems, companies create value, benefits that improve lives and generate positive outcomes. Outreach communicates this value to the market through stories, channels, and messages that resonate. Transfer ensures access and delivery. Value must not only be created, it must reach the customer in the right place at the right time. Every business operates at the crossroads of micro and macro forces: AI, politics, tariffs, the economy, and sustainability. These forces shape how companies compete and grow. Trust creates advocacy. Customers become partners, ambassadors, and advocates, spreading your message and strengthening your brand. Finally, all of this leads to lifetime value, long-term relationships, repeat business, and sustainable growth. The customer journey is continuous, an infinite flow of value creation. This is the Pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas, the success formula to turn purpose into infinite market power and leave the competition behind. Start with purpose, win with Pivotal.
Thank you. And what's beautiful about that, a former student of mine, a student for information technology and design, he did. I educated him in strategy and marketing and leadership, and I said, this is what I want to do. Because I was talking to Phil, looking at the evolution of marketing, and I said, we have to have something more comprehensive in this AI-driven, anxious world. And what do you want to be remembered for? Michael Porter has the 5 forces, right? Or generic strategies. Moore and Kim have the blue ocean strategy, right? Also about a value proposition. You're associated probably with McCarthy with a 4 piece. But that is long gone. You're 95 now. Let's do something to carry on the legacy. And Philip laughed again. First, he had just in his head, he wanted to replace the 4 piece or the safety model. I said, we need something more encompassing. And I was suggesting, William was coming up with that, I said, suggesting to liaise the company with the customer through the infinity, mathematical infinity symbol, and having all the elements. And Pivotal is also game changer, right? Pivotal moment, you know that, right? Pivotal chart from Excel, you know, but pivotal moment. And Philip loved it. Philip absolutely loved it, and he said, "Wow, this is really super cool." And this is what we call the Pivotal Infinity Marketing Canvas. We have these 10 steps, and we're discussing with Professor Tina. We'll bring it also to India. Right? We not only through the institute, but we have associated with that. We have trainings here at the NDIM, because we need a much more comprehensive approach. And this is how it looks. It's not a tool created in the ivory tower of the university, distinguished university, right? It is a tool that we apply, for example, with the management of Patagonia. So it's done in workshops. Using Miro, for example, you can also go to Miro and write digital collaboration board. This is how it looks like. It's very complex. So it's not that it's saying that everything that we have learned or you are learning is redundant. No, on the contrary, it's all in there. When you talk about persona, customer segment, we talk about SCP, segmentation, targeting, positioning. We talk about persona, right? Design. We're talking about the pest analysis and the SWOT analysis. You can see here the micro-analysis, and you can see the pest analysis in the model as well. But it's rooted in purpose. This is about this absolutely fundamental thing. And if you pay attention, you don't only see my pin here that is showing, Professor Tina. I gave it to her a long time back, and Dr. Gonzalez also has one. But it's also, if you pay careful attention, the colors of the letters are the SDG colors. So we took the corresponding colors, right? And the puzzle on the side here, you cannot see, it's very small, but the puzzle is in the colors of the SDG, right? The Sustainable Development Goals. And we published the book in this summer, so it's absolutely hot. It's also available in India as an ebook, and we're discussing just with a global publisher, Wiley, to publish that through Wiley. But first, we published through my own publishing house in order to maintain the intellectual property rights. That was logic. If you first go with the Pearson, over the McGraw Hill, they all wanted that. You lose the intellectual property, like in music as well. That's great. So first, and then we are publishing now with Wiley, all with the Vikas also wants to be Tapas and those kind of people. My friend Marshall Goldsmith, the #1 executive leadership coach on the planet, calls it the future compass of all management. All management. Not only marketing management, all management. It is the only book on the planet that is endorsed by the United Nations, by the director of the Innovation Accelerator of the World Food Program, my friend Bernard Kovac. Because it is also, you cannot read it, but you see the chandelier, you see the United Nations logo here, also with this book. Every book that is sold, also every ebook, we're donating 1 meal to 1 person in need, combining the 2 SDG goals, 2 and 4, hunger and quality education. And also, Professor Kotler's friend, my friend, David Aker, you know, he's a very fine senior gentleman. The guru of the gurus in branding, David, says, pivotal marketing will replace the 4 Ps and every other attempt. Devotion, everything. Generic strategy, every other attempt to structure marketing and management. So this is the framework which also was acknowledged by the London School of Economics and Political Science. And like I said, we need a short mantra about a purpose. That is my purpose. That's not what I learned from my friend Guy Kawasaki. He was chief evangelist of Apple. He was reporting to Steve Jobs directly. He was responsible for Apple brand. And he said, you need a forward mantra, right? Philip, sense and simplicity, for example, right? Or whatever. HP, they just have one word underneath the roof. Invent. Building a better world through education, that is what I do. That is what I love doing. So you can see it here for another book, for the marketing book. You can see here the zoom in. By doing that, we are combining, like I said, the 2 goals, 2 and 4. That is also what we are doing with the MBA program. And I end, like I ended last time as well, because I think this is absolutely paramount. In addressing future leaders like you are. You're already privileged sitting in the room. Yes, you are. Because I've been talking to people in Africa, and I've seen also working for the United Nations World Food Program. I've seen people that cannot go to school. They're starving. Going to school, going to this elite institution is a privilege. Going to any school is a privilege. That's not the question. The world is full of challenges, and you're all future leaders, right? You can use, this is what I was referring to, the Bali model is the most contemporary thing we use to describe the environment we do live in. But basically you find similar elements in VUCA, so you can use VUCA. But what I like is, and this is true, it's an anxious-driven world. People are anxious, frustrated, we have all mental disease, so a lot of people are really, we have boredom, but also we have burnouts, more burnouts than ever before. More young children are being stressed by social media. You've seen that Australia just vanished that until the age of 60 in schools as well. So we have an answer to that, because if we have more purpose orientation, that will help. Like I said, it's not the question that you are going to be successful. I'm pretty sure about that. But that is not the question, how much money you make, which car you're driving. But will you choose to make an impact on this world we are living in? And we only have one planet, right now. And I hope and I trust that you do that. Thank you very much. Now, if you allow me to have a whole ecosystem. We're the only ones who have a song that comes along with the framework.
In a world that keeps on turning, we search to find the way. Not just chasing numbers, but meaning every day.
As a I listen to that every day. Thank you very much. As always, I was a bit too long, probably, right? Yeah. There was no timekeeper, and I'm just like a train. You cannot stop me once I'm going. Thank you for your patience. Oh, it was not too boring. It was inspiration.
Not at all, Professor Opresnik. Thank you so much for your thoughts, which began with maintaining a balance through the triple bottom line to becoming purpose-driven brands and purpose-driven individuals working towards an infinite flow of value creation. Symbolic of the thoughts that you shared of a leader, someone who inspires everyone towards a shared vision is our respected chairman, sir. Dr. V.M. Bansal, retired IAS officer. Sir is a multifaceted leader who holds degrees in engineering, law, journalism, MBA, and an honorary PhD and DBA from South Korea. Over 5 decades, he has excelled from CEO of
Take it. If you want to connect with me, don't hesitate. I'm approachable. Connect with me. Ask a question. I do respond. I'm not kidding. I do respond to everybody. Yeah, it may take a while, but yes. You're always saying, oh, people don't dare to connect with you. That is also what I loved about Professor Gottlieb. He was approachable. Huh? Yeah.
I can vouch for the fact that he does respond. I sent him a LinkedIn request and he accepted within the first 24 hours. Thank you, sir.
No, it's my privilege. Like I said, not to pamper you. No. I can learn from everybody in the room. Like I said, my former student was doing the design of the video, for example. The song was done by the niece of Professor Kotler. Right? She was composing that. I admire her. I can learn from her because I play the piano, but I cannot sing that well. If I would have sang karaoke, everybody would have left the room.
Which value in the devoter you consider most precious?
Most important.
Most precious.
Purpose. And I can tell you what I told students at the Prestige Institution, Prestige University. And I think I put it in the tagline with you as well, I think, or with the Deepak. India, I put it in one like Kazakhstan, in one sentence. India has to move from a high potential nation to a high impact nation. Through purpose. Because I don't want to live in a world or want to talk to robots or so. Like, we still are human beings and we appreciate the interaction, the social interaction. That is also why online teaching, it can work, but it's not the same, right? You have fantastic possibilities. Utilize them. We can utilize AI to be learning better, right? So what I did for, I'm sorry, 1 minute. Give you one idea. What I was just doing for a mathematics book, for 5th class, right? We were the first on the planet to do that. I included in every chapter of the math book, I was including a QR code, which is giving you to access. You can also listen to that, but it's in German. It gives you access to an audio podcast narrated by Google Notebook LM. So I had Google Notebook LM produce audio podcasts for every chapter of the math book. And now we have even individually programmed ChatGPT just for the math book. So you can access through free of charge. You can access through the QR code, and then you can, as a student, as a scholar, young person, you can interact with the ChatGPT. You can talk to that based on the book. we shouldn't be afraid. We should utilize, but we never stop, always evolve, always. So the answer, purpose. Start with why. It's so important. And that is why I love it. I never met so engaged people like I've met at the United Nations World Food Program. Those people are working, the majority of those people work on limited contract. They only have a contract for project basis for 4 years or something like that. It's very insecure. They're not well paid. It's no payment. You work for Tata, you get much better payment. You work for a Deutsche Bank, you get much better payment. But those people, their career factor is 100. Of course, they want to put a lot of energy in making the lives of other people better because it's a mission. It gives a lot. Everything is getting back to your heart, right? This is the only thing that goes if you give it away. If you make the lives of people better, it makes your life better as well. It gives you more intrinsic motivation. It gives you more aura, more shine, you're different, you're less healthy because, you see, look at me, I'm an old man. But he has to put a hammer onto my head or something to make me stop talking. Otherwise, I'm jumping around, but he's so kind. Look at him. You would never criticize. You would never criticize. But he knows that. You can wake me up and you know it's true. You can wake me up tonight and say, oh, come on, let's talk about this model, or let's talk about the blue ocean. And I will laugh, or listen to me, or this is my view on the world. I'm worried because of that. Sorry.
We need to be so grateful to him. Let's see, thanks to a professor who asked the question, and the answer he gave is very meaningful in case you remember it forever. That you have the potential, India has the potential. But India has to make impact. I think in this one line and in this one message, everything can be summed up. It is not just your MBA can be summed up in this. Your whole life journey can be summed up in this. If you just keep this one line as your kind of a status and remind yourself every day that you have the potential, first of all, start believing in yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, once he says you have the potential, so be sure that you have it. And now, to be impactful, what he mentioned at the beginning, it's very much there even now, is the purpose. Okay, you have the potential, so choose your purpose so that you're most impactful person. That will not change you, that will not change just your city or your family, it will change the whole country and it will impact the whole world. And that is how we keep thanking the Almighty. It is, I must say, Dr. Marc, he somehow reached us. We had a good favor, we were fortunate that he reached us. And as he mentioned, he chose NDIM to be the first institute in India to partner with, to have MOU with. He was with us 6 months back when we were very happy to confer honorary professorship on him. At our request, he stayed 1 full day more with us and was the chief guest at 2 events at Top Rankers Club in Meridian, where large number of industry guests were there. So today also, can you believe he came last night and he's traveling back tonight? So this is the purpose. Please understand why he has come only for 24 hours. Because there's some purpose at the back required. So whatever he does, whatever he speaks, is focused in that one single direction. And obviously, you see, in fact, those people who know they are from the maths background, they know what it is. But I'm sure all of you should also know what the science stands for. Okay. So you know, some of you know, some of you do not know, must know it. This is sign of infinity. Okay. Infinite. No end to it. This is something which is, we say God is infinite. Okay. So it's just like that. So that is what he is wanting to bring to the careers of each one of you. And we are extremely grateful for his support. And I must, in front of all of you, because if I lack somewhere, I must admit in front of everybody. He has been messaging me, mailing me for the last 3-4 weeks. No, I must admit it. You know, whatever be my faults, I always admit openly and publicly. I have not been able to get back to him because initially I was slightly unwell. Then I had a surgery, my eye surgery about 10 days back. I have not been reading mails or WhatsApp messages. But yet, if somebody messages me and send me a message again, send me a mail again, and if I do not respond, this is not the right thing to do. Okay. So thank you very much for bearing with us and still finding time to be with us. And today, of course, you know, we are having a formal launch. We will be all party to that. And I'm sure things for you are going to be looking up in a very, very big way. Just remember what I mentioned in the beginning. You have the potential, have a purpose, and be impactful. Best wishes. Thank you very much. Once again, and time and again.
Thank you so much, sir. Today, we take pride in having witnessed the beginning of an exciting chapter in NDIM's global journey, the operational launch of the Opresnik Pivotal Thinking Institute. This institute stands as a testament to NDIM's commitment to creating global leaders through innovative, values-based, and research-driven education. The launch marks the establishment of the first Opresnik Pivotal Thinking Institute in India, positioning NDIM as a pioneer in purpose-driven leadership, innovation, and next-generation marketing education. The Institute introduces the pivotal Infinity Marketing Framework into NDIM's academic and executive programs, providing students and leaders with a future-oriented approach connecting purpose, innovation, value creation, and long-term impact. The launch also strengthens NDIM's international profile through close collaboration with Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik, combining global thought leadership with applied learning, industry relevance, and real-world cases. As a token of our gratitude, may I request Chairman Sir to kindly present the memento to Professor Dr. Marc Opresnik.
I can reiterate, they always say Dr. Marc is always. Marc's fine.
Impact is missing.
Of course I know. Of course I know. I was buying it too.
I know that.
That's nice.
To formally mark this auspicious beginning, we now proceed to the ceremonial unveiling of the Institute plaque and the lighting of the lamp, eternal symbols of wisdom, knowledge, and new beginnings. May I request Professor Marc, as well as Chairman Sir, and the other dignitaries and students to kindly join us for the ceremony and the group photograph after.
Huh? Yeah. Sure.